Unfortunately, I'm kind of disappointed in this run because it could have been a no traces run, but the enemy was not cooperative. I'm just bringing pretty much just the standard loadout, water pistol, and just a regular bionic arm. I'm not going to need any special arms. So might as well save on GMP. Because, as I said, this is going to be basically a no traces run, so using any of the arm abilities or CQC would prevent that, but as it turns out, something that happens will prevent me from getting the no traces bonus anyway, so that sucks, but it's effectively a no traces run except for RNG. I'll show you what that means in a bit. So we start on the west side of the Walks-In Barracks, because that's the easiest way to get directly to the target quickly. We're just going to ride D-Horse up to this drain and crawl through it. Now there's one guy who is looking down into this kind of valley. He's in a post over there. I should be able to mark him in a second. Yeah. But in just a second he's going to turn to the right and go look the other way, which allows me to just get up and sprint. Now he might not have seen me anyway because I am in matching camo. I know it doesn't look like it, but this is technically Rocky camo. And he was about more than 70 meters away, so he might not have actually seen me anyway. And if he did, it might have just been a, hey, what's that kind of notice, but just in case. He did turn away, so he completely failed to see me at all. Good guarding. Now, by going up these rock shelves, we're going to end up on the top side area where the helipad is for the barracks. And there's only 3 enemies between me and the engineer. My goal here was to hold them all up, which would allow me to keep the no traces bonus, which requires you to basically never use the trigger command, never use CQC, things like that. Unfortunately, that guard refused to surrender. His pip stayed orange instead of turning blue. That'll happen sometimes, about like half the time sometimes. And unfortunately, I had to dive into him to knock him down, because when somebody's on the ground, they cannot refuse to be held up. They can't fail to surrender. But I think diving into him like that counted as a violation of no traces, which sucks and it's stupid, because, you know, why are you going to get this bonus in the game if the NPC gets to randomly decide whether he's going to ruin it? But I wasn't interested in getting the no traces bonus just for the sake of getting the no traces bonus, so just an unfortunate note there. I also tried to knock that guy, but I think I was too far away. They will hear knocks through structures, through walls. It's like a sphere about 14.5 meters around, so they will hear it. Anyway, this guy coming up the stairs is usually heavy armor, at least when I run it. I imagine depending on your settings and whether you're using mods or something like that, he might not always be in heavy armor, he might not be in it at all, but in this case he is. So I will not be able to hold him up as it is anyway, because guards in heavy armor, as far as I know, they never get held up while they're standing. However, like every other enemy, when they're on the ground, they cannot refuse to be held up. So, you know, I could have just dodged him if I'd still had the no traces bonus, but at this point, since I'm not going to have it, I'm just going to play it out here, which means I could have just, you know, CQC'd this guy if I wanted, but I decided I was going to be cute and go ahead and just do a knock, do an extremely ill-advised crawl into his line of sight, potentially, and then roll out just in time. But I do, however, manage to get a hold up on him. So if I'd been successful in holding up the first guy, and if I'd avoided the heavy armor guy properly by just waiting for him to go up the stairs, I probably could have done this no traces. So it's kind of unfortunate that, but hey, there it is. However, those 3 guys were the only ones in my way, so all I need to do is pick the engineer up and get out of the mission with him. Now, I mentioned in a previous video that I have some settings in Infinite Heaven that basically make Fultoning not work for certain people. It can't be made to fail for enemies. However, Miller will tell you that you can Fulton him, but you can't. That's because I've made a setting that basically causes it to be impossible to Fulton a prisoner, and he counts as a prisoner, the engineer does, so I have to get out on land. Or put him in a chopper, which I'm not going to call the chopper because I didn't clear the outpost, and I'm not going to waste my money calling a chopper when I can just take a nice little run and a ride on D-Horse and be done with it. So that's the last guy that's really of any consequence. Once we have managed to just kind of make sure that I'm going to be at least within, outside of about 50 meters. We can go. And what I'll do is just run over to called D-Horse, put the engineer on, and then ride out of the mission area, which unfortunately is fairly large. You're supposed to clearly Fulton him. They tell you to Fulton him. They intend for you to Fulton him, like, out of the building through one of the holes in the ceiling, but we're not going to do that. Okay, so we're loaded up. I'm just going to speed this up now. Due to the way that rectangle is set up, if you go towards kind of where the road is going, you won't get out of the hot zone before you're within sight of the outpost. So I tried to kind of skirt that corner to avoid that, just on the off chance that anybody in the outpost does see me, because I do have a prisoner on the back of my horse and I'm on the saddle, so it is possible to spot me at that point. Lost the no traces bonus, but I kept everything else, so that's not too bad.